Hey, how are you? I am fantastic. It's Friday. Oh, my God, I've been up since 5:30. Oh my gosh, you guys. If you've been watching the Murdoch trial, wow, I think we're all going to have a little bit of, well, we've all had trial fatigue, but now that it's over, it's weird. Anytime you ever invest this much time and your emotions into a case, I think there is, at least for me, there is always that it's almost like a void, like even when it goes the way you want it to go, which in this case it did. Hi Bash the Tragedy Pimps, how are you? Happy Friday. I know your days, listen, no matter what, your day's going better than Alex Murdoch's day. So there is that. But yeah, there's definitely going to be I don't know, like a little period of adjustment, so to speak. Now that it's all over, well, I mean, it's not all over, not by a long stretch, but the part that we care about, it is. I mean, they're going to appeal the whole nine. I just watched Dickie Boy Poot, old Dick Harpootlian on the courthouse steps, like the tone deaf, elderly ass old man that he is. God, I would like to bitch slap him. Dick, shut the hell up and sit down, you asshole. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you. Although I have to say this. I do not think that Jim Griffin, whatever their hourly fee is, which, by the way, I did find out just a few minutes ago, a question I have been asking, which is, how the fuck is he paying for this? How's Alex, or who is paying for Alex's defense? And apparently his 401k, that's what Emily D. Baker's channel said. And she's an attorney, unlike Betty, who just plays one, not only here on YouTube, but in real life. So I'm going to go with that answer. But yes, of course, they're going to file an appeal. I do not think that Jim Griffin I don't think he did a very good job in his close. I understand why Harpootlian probably was not the choice, because he'd been super dick throughout the, and look at that, pun not intended, but now very much intended. So just run with it. Yes, super dick, super dicky Harpootlian, Poot for short. Hey Bearcan, how you doing? I can see why the jury has probably, by that point, by the time we got to closing, I'm quite certain they'd had enough of that old bastard. And, it was probably a very strategic decision to have Griffin do it. However, I think the fatigue was starting to show. I think, because listen, you guys, Jim Griffin was a personal friend. I guess Poot was also a friend, but Jim Griffin was a very good friend to the family. And do you think that they don't both know what happened? I think they do. Whether they wanted to or not, I'm sure. Most attorneys don't want to know. It's like, blah, 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 blah. Please, no, just give me everything I need to. They want you to be honest with them, and they need to know what they need to know. But typically they don't want you to look at them and say, yes, I did it, I'm guilty of sin. They're going to defend you just the same, but plausible deniability and such. But I'm not, listen, I don't want to get in the weeds on this. You'd have to ask a real lawyer like, Emily D. Baker or Betty, BullHornBetty, about what, if I'm remembering correctly, the fact that client tells an attorney that they did it, that's not, the relationship between client and attorney is sacrosanct. It's very much like that between penitent and priest, or confessor to confessee. Is that it? Yeah, that. But I've always heard that they don't necessarily need you to tell them all the nitty gritty of what you did. So taking the stand, epic mistake, in my opinion. He's a very odd duck. He's got some very off-putting, what look like neurological issues, which, if you are foolish enough to believe his assertion of a $50,000 a week drug habit, well, I guess that could account for some of the neurological deficits that are clearly on display. I thought it was interesting that no one made a victim impact statement. Not even, I can see where Maggie's family and even Alex's maybe necessarily would not have wanted to get up and, hi, next to Ron, how are you? I can see where they wouldn't have wanted to stand up in front of a courtroom and do that. And, there are obviously still, these families are still tied together, and they're always going to be. There's, Buster is still around. There's, someday he may have children. I don't know. But as someone who's made a victim impact statement before in a courtroom, it's a daunting thing, but they absolutely could have had something prepared and given to the victim's advocate, who would have absolutely read that on their behalf, or Creighton Waters. There's lots of ways to handle it. So I was a bit surprised about that. But, maybe they feel like, obviously, what has happened is justice. Of course, they'll appeal. We'll see how good of friends they are, because I'm pretty sure the 401k, with all his financial shit, I thought all his assets were, well, whatever was even still there, which may have been nothing, but liquid, actual cold hard cash. I thought all of that was under the control of a conservator, and maybe it is. And that, a permissible expense is, a multi-million-dollar defense attorney check. I don't know. So it definitely, though, imagine, I know how I feel, okay? And I wasn't one of the diehards. I did not watch every single day of this testimony. I watched probably 60% of the entire trial. I watched what I was most interested in. And I really couldn't stand Dick Harpootlian. He was very off-putting to me. And I believe he was a very fine lawyer in his day, but I think Dick should stick to being a a politician, because I'm sure he's quite skilled at that, because I get that smarmy vibe off of him. So, but I did listen to 60% of it, and all of the really pertinent stuff. I mean, the things that to me were more mundane, things that were not of that much interest to me, I didn't listen to. But I know, and I don't know any of these people, but it's now that it's over and the dust is going to settle, it is just a weird feeling that you get, like, and I can't imagine what the family must be going through, because this is never going to be over for them. I really detest hearing the word closure. Just, they throw that word around so casually in courtrooms, in, psychological settings. I don't think that anybody that loved either of those two people, any of them really, Alex Murdaugh too, his family loves him, I guess. Some of them do. That may change over time as well. I mean, I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But I think the word closure is incredibly overused. It oversimplifies. I mean, obviously, I did not see the autopsy photos, but I have seen similar photos. And to even imagine what that might look like for the family of Maggie and Paul on both sides. And I hope that's all they will ever know of, that is whatever their own mind will not allow them to stop conjuring. This will never be over for them. Never. It doesn't matter if he sits in jail he's going to die in jail. Okay, that's a given. That doesn't change the fact that they have to learn a whole new way to live, and it's just going to be a very long, difficult road for everyone, and those jurors as well. I mean, think about that. They saw all. They've seen more than, well, the only person who's seen more is Alex and his lawyers. So imagine how that feels. Oh God, I would hate you. Like, they'll never stop seeing that. Maybe I shouldn't say never, but my guess would be, well, never probably is right. They'll see it less and less as time goes by, but they're never gonna. There will be times, probably for the rest of their lives, where just for no rhyme or reason, even, those images will come to them. So I liked what the judge said to Alex Murdaugh right before he sentenced him, when he said that, basically, you got to get right with your own soul. And I'm sure when you close your eyes at night, Maggie and Paul come to visit. And anybody who's lived a certain amount of life knows how very true that statement is. Because I know for me, that's when things that are weighing on me, good, bad, ugly, and everything in between, my fault, not my fault, whatever the case may be, that's when things come to me. They come to me at night, and not usually even when you're trying to go to sleep, but sometimes, like, if you get up in the night and then you can't go back to sleep. That's when like my wheels a lot of times will turn. So that's enough of that. There's a million people on here talking about that, and that's just my take on it. Okay. Well, at least Alex, if you're there in the Colleton County Jail listening, Alex, the one saving grace for you, I guess, is the fact that you don't look too bad in khaki. So, God, we got to look for the bright spots where we can find them. And God knows there's not many places. But there is that. Yeah, because trust me, in Florida, they usually put you in a pretty heinous shade of orange. So, I don't know what it's going to look like I don't know if the state prison also has khaki issued uniforms, but Alex, I guess that's the best you can hope for. That and an endless supply of honey buns for you, honey buns and top ramen for you and all your fellow inmates who I'm quite certain your family is going to be funding their JPay accounts. Yes. Yeah, he's going to have to, you got to, what is that they say? You want to make friends with the locals? Yeah. Commissary. Alex, it'll be your best friend. Yes, and, everyone knows that prisons have a bustling prison economy, we'll just say. So, maybe he'll fall off the wagon if he's ever, well, I guess he probably has been on it since he's been in county lockup. I don't know. And that's a very small jail. But once he gets to state prison, oh, who knows? He could pick his old habits right back up without missing a beat, I'm quite sure. Hey, Moonshine, how you doing? Okay. Yep, Alex, I'm a big old fan of well, there's all kinds of names for them. Some people call them adages, axioms, sayings. And two that screamed out to me from the beginning of this thing was pride goeth before a fall. And the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And my goodness, if that isn't true, it is. Trust me. We've all seen it. Hey, Bee's Knees, how you doing? He probably will. It won't be his 1,800-acre hunting lodge that he, stole off the back of a man dying of cancer. But, hey, gotta make the best of your situation wherever you land. Okay. The one thing I wanted to clear up from my last live, y'all, apparently while I took my little hiatus away from YouTube, it must have been during that time that what I found out yesterday probably occurred. And that was when I talked to Prayer Garden of America was it earlier? Yeah, it was earlier this week. One of the things I told her that I thought she was full of shit on was when she said that AB had given her some, like secret intel to use against Tiffany Marie. And I very vocally came out and said, Prayer Garden, hello, we all know those two are thick as thieves, BFFs. Well, imagine my surprise when I was listening to Benny Keys yesterday. Hey, Peggy, how are you? And he talked about the fact that there had been a parting of the ways between AB and Tiffany. Apparently over, my God, the check that will never get cashed. the check that'll never get cashed. It won't go away. So that's just what I heard. But obviously that's quite a bit different than what I sat in this chair and opined about. So I wanted to, even though I think Prayer Garden of America is an absolute a-hole, I still said something that was not accurate. So, I'm sorry. I just felt like I needed to come in and say that, yes, even Lisa is wrong quite often, as a matter of fact, just not always here on YouTube. But in this case, I absolutely was wrong. So apologies for that. Hey, barely human into hood. Oh my gosh. Does anybody know? I saw a community post the other day. Damn it. And I was waiting for an appointment and I was just scrolling really quick and I saw, hi kid, how are you? I saw that I don't even remember who made the post. That rap was in ICU. Does anybody know if he is still in ICU? And if he is, well, regardless, my thoughts go out to him and his family. And I always liked rap. I tried very hard to stay out of that whole big shit show that happened when everybody kind of went their separate ways, him and Benny Keys and Nicolina and all that. I tried to stay completely out of that. But I never had an issue with rap. I never had an issue with any of them. I just needed to not be, I wasn't going to pick a side. So I stayed away from all sides. But I certainly hope that he is, if he's still there, that he's going to be okay. Okay. The following things that we're going to talk about are from the following channels: Heels in the Air, Cheesy Wheezy, Jonesin, Earth, and Chronicles of the Shady. And I think that's everybody that I looked at. So all those fabulous clip channels, thank you so much for doing the filthy, dirty job that we can't bear to do. Oh, barely human. Is he still there? Oh God, that's very scary because things with the liver are oftentimes, that's very serious. I hope that he will be okay. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Working? Excuse me, don't you know this is YouTube? Nobody works here, Sarah. What the hell are you doing? Are you trying to be a unicorn? Oh, okay. So, before I get going on our star of the show, yes, Betty. News has been breaking faster than Betty's hair here on the YouTube streets. But before I get to Betty, I just wanted to say, on one of these clip channels, now believe it or not, I swear to you, this is true. I have never before met Team Rose. Now I've heard her name ever since I showed up in this dumpster fire. And I saw her, Coco Saget was live yesterday. I popped in there while I was walking the dog for a few minutes just to say hi. And I saw that Team Rose was in the chat and she was talking to Coco. I hardly chatted at all because I was on my phone with the dog and I cannot do that little tiny keyboard. But I saw her on one of the clips that I was, hey, Jackie Blue, how you doing? One of the clips that I was watching, trying to find the Betty stuff that I wanted to talk about. I was going back through the history from a few days ago and then just writing down the channels that I wanted to go look at more videos. And one of them, and I think it might have been Cheesy Weez. I'm not sure, but Team Rose was talking to Dolly Vision about Tina, Paper Cut Tina, who apparently made a commercial or something that Dolly, I guess, kind of just, I don't want to say too much about it because I'm not really sure, but this commercial was in question, like who got credit for it and who maybe used it without giving credit for it, kind of thing. But my goodness, Team Rose, I am very, I think she's very smart. I think it was on 2 times speed. I know I don't think she talks that fast, although I have heard that once she gets, really rolling on something, that woo, she will like open it up like a convertible on the interstate. But I tell you what, she's not stupid, and God knows we can always use a little more smarts here on YouTube. So I will probably, I have not been to her channel. I just saw this little thing on the Clip channel, but I'm kind of intrigued. So I'm probably going to go and check her out. Hey, Mona Lisa, how are you? Yeah, she had, I think her message connected with me because she was talking about Dolly and like, who is like some Svengali, and he's got all these stupid women who give him money. Ladies, what the hell is wrong with you? My God, is it some kind of a prerequisite to participate more than you probably should in our wonderful YouTube community that you have to either have no mirror or a circus mirror, and clearly also be visually impaired and possibly hearing impaired as well, because he has no, I get it. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I just can't help but think do you think it has something to do with the fact that we've got how many men creators do we have here in this community? 4? Is it like I mean, I'm pretty sure there's like 287,000 women to each one male creator. So is it like there's like nothing that can make me understand it. I'm not even going to attempt to explain it. But Rose was doing a fine job of explaining it, and she was reading him for filth. And she was also telling all these dumbass women, giving him their hard-earned money, like, ladies, you don't need him. I think she told him to go find a support group. She told him something pretty funny. I might be a fan of Team Rose, okay? Listen, I'm not saying that Team Rose may not, I've always heard she has these freakouts. Well, we all have freakouts. And like I said, she's smart. I can tell that she is not stupid. And like, that's already swaying me a lot. I like brains. So, no, I might check her out, and, I want to see her in another context, we'll just say. Okay, so now we're at the star of the show, at least the star of her show. How did that song go? Nope, I'm not gonna do that, y'all. If I sang, you guys would all leave. You'd go running like your hair was on fire. Yeah, Betty. Okay, let's see. First we're going to talk about, because there's three separate things we're going to talk about. So the first one, briefly, because this is of somewhat older news, so to speak, but I'm still going to address it because, it just needs to be. And that is Betty and Down the Rabbit Hole News and her response to, hey, crazy nurse, how are you? Her response to what Rabbit Hole News had to say about Betty's, her campaign to save the children. Like, hey, bitch, it's an ICPC. It's been in place since the 60s. Interstate Compact for the placement of children. Betty, when I think of Betty, well, the first question I always ask is, which is thinner, her skin or her hair? I think they're in equal measure. And Betty, to me, is nothing more than a wildly insecure woman who poorly disguises said insecurity with badly disguised arrogance or hubris. But you can see her coming a mile away like a neon sign. I mean, it's just... Yeah, Betty always, she does the work for us. Her absolute ignorance always just comes shining through. You know what Betty reminds me of? I mentioned the other day that my husband and I like to watch body cam videos. And a lot of what gets uploaded, especially traffic stops, are sovereign citizens. And much like Betty, they are big assholes who think that the rules don't apply to them. They know more. I mean, I don't know what kind of delusional asshole you have to be to look at a cop. I mean, I don't know about you, but I do everything I can to not piss off someone who has the powers of arrest and carries a gun. Like, yeah, I try to stay far afield of those people. And it's really not that hard. When they tell you have to put that little sticker on the back of your license plate and you have to carry that little thing in your wallet, and you got to have insurance, it's like, I get it. I mean, none of us like to give our money to the state for that kind of stuff, but hey, it's just a part of living in a civilized society. Betty is like the sovereign citizen of crime, because she's not true crime. I mean, she does put the crime in true crime, and I suppose she puts the true as in criminal, be that, well, we'll just say formerly. Yeah, so she, to me, I look at her as sovereign citizen level of delusion. Because I mean, like, when Betty goes to the doctor, if she ever does, whatever the case may be, whether it's a doctor, an accountant, well, we know she doesn't go to one of those. Let's just say doctor. Crazy nurse. Don't worry, we're getting to the fashion advice. Yes, you know what? Listen, I don't go to church as often as I should, or at all. But that doesn't mean I don't like to do acts of charity. That's why I, I'm still giving Betty fashion advice, whether she wants it or not. She desperately needs it. But Betty strikes me as the kind of person that goes to the doctor for something, and when the doctor says, okay, well, take $100,000 worth of cocaine and call me in the morning. Like, I'm pretty sure that she looks at the doctor and says, no, I am a cocaine professional. I went to school for cocaine use, and I have a criminal record to prove it. That is all parody. That's comedy. Yes, hyperbole, sarcasm. I'm not saying that Betty has done $100,000 worth of cocaine. Betty said she did $100,000 worth of cocaine. But like most things Betty says, I think it's probably bullshit. Because I'm pretty sure Betty's never made $100,000 in one calendar year in her entire life. And Betty, if you have, it's not gross or net, pumpkin. Because you're the one who claimed that you did. When speaking of, well, y'all don't let me forget that, okay? I have got to stay on topic or we're going to be here for a month. And I'm following the notes. See, this is what happens to me. I'm going down rabbit hole news service road. Nope, we're going to stick with this. We'll get back to the cocaine in a minute. Yeah, one of the things Betty loves to say, this is one of her catchphrases. You can't legislate evil away. And apparently, you can't legislate dumbass, ignorant bitches away either. Because, oh boy, if you could, well, I wouldn't be sitting here in this chair. She said what? What are you asking me if she said? The thing about the cocaine, she absolutely did. Yes, she did. Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Don't be trying to get me off track. So as Betty is getting schooled by Down the Rabbit Hole News, I'm just going to call her Rabbit for the rest of this little brief bit. We're going to talk about it. Betty, honestly, it takes, Betty's got some go-tos besides the you can't legislate evil. The more Betty gets owned, the more she screams, she insults, and one of her other favorite go-tos when she gets owned is the following. She likes to call another woman, whether it is someone who is younger than her or older than her, and it's almost 99.5% of the time someone smarter than her. And here's her big comeback. Betty, girl, I welcome you. I would love to debate you, Betty. You always think you're the smartest one in the room, so why don't you prove it? And we don't have to do it on my channel. We can do it on, we're not going to do it on, we shouldn't do it on either one of our channels. We'll find a channel that we can go on that's, not biased. You just hit me up anytime. Slide into my DMs. I'll be waiting. But yeah, her hey Cece, how are you? Her real go-to is, no matter who the woman is, little girl. It's very demeaning. And it's just stupid is what it is. It's meant to be demeaning, but it's stupid because it's coming from someone who half the time she is saying it to a woman who's older than her. So what's that say about you? Because you've called me that before. I'm pretty sure nobody uses the word little when they're speaking about you. And if they use it when speaking about me, it's probably about my height. So in her little mind, it is meant to be an insulting, derogatory, demeaning turn of phrase. Because obviously the words little girl in and of themselves are not, there's nothing gross about those. It's the way she tries to use it. Hey Mike, how are you? So yeah, there's that. And after getting owned and schooled for filth, Betty, you showed your ass, girl. You show your ass all the time, but this was next level bad. And clearly, Down the Rabbit Hole News is a much nicer person than I am, because she gave you a level of respect you do not deserve. Not from her, not from anyone on here. You, Betty, as I think I've proven many times, I can insult you just like I'm talking now, and I'll do it with words that you will need your crayons, and it would behoove you to get a dictionary to look them up. But we know you don't do any of that. It is confounding to me how a woman who wants you to think, despite all the stupid shit that comes out of her mouth. Betty, let's just take the word behoove, and it's not just behoove. You do this all the time. You show your educational ignorance on the regular by being corrected by, the whole fucking internet on the proper usage of words that you repeatedly use incorrectly. Betty, that is the sin. The sin is not in making the mistake the first 277 subsections A, B, and C times. No, it's in not going and, while you're doing all your important legal research, why don't you just behoove? Doesn't it get old getting drugged for filth over stuff like that? I would think it would. Hey, Percy, how are you? Hey, twin thing, how you doing? So yeah, it's, you just look damn fool. I don't even know, like, I don't even have enough words to try and get inside the psyche of a woman. Betty, the sign of a secure woman and one who's got some intelligence. Intelligence isn't about knowing every fucking thing there is on the planet like you think you do. No. Intelligence is knowing when to STF you. When someone who knows more than you is trying to educate you, but you take everything like it's a big personal insult against you. Well, I mean, from me it is. But from other people, I mean, she was trying to help you. But don't worry, I'm sure she's gotten the message that you're just an ignorant ass bitch who can't be helped. Did I say that? Yeah, I think I did. All right, Prissy. Thank you, girl. Oh, Mike, thank you. Yeah, that's what makes you ignorant. Well, that and a lot of other things. Oh, Mike Stevens, I wanted to let you know I saw your comment. I will buy you the damn car of your choice, sir. I'm telling you. Mike, I didn't have time to respond, but I'm going to. But Mike left me a comment and said that he was going to get Betty and I to be friends. That she's a very nice person. Mike, I thought that we had already come to a place of understanding where that's concerned. I don't tease you about liking Betty because, like I said, I can't account for everybody's taste, nor do I want to. But I think, sir, that is a bridge too far, okay? And like I said, if you can make that happen, Mike, I will buy you a car, whatever kind of car you want. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah. So Betty said to Rabbit Hole News, who just for the kids in the back, in case you maybe didn't know this, Rabbit has a master's in social work and worked in the field for a decade. Now, I don't know why she thinks that would give her any standing to, help Betty educate herself. Because let's face it, I mean, education is not exactly what you, that's not where your mind goes when you hear BullHornBetty. Nope. Betty said to Rabbit, instead of saying what anybody with, that much class, if you had that much class, Betty, you know who you are? You are that person. You see a lot of this here in Florida, maybe up north, I don't know. But in Florida, Betty, you are the person that drives around with an airbrushed license plate on the front of your car, probably has a rose, and it says, touch of class. And it's always the people who are, probably people of Walmart. Not that means you can't have class because you go to Walmart, but you know what I'm saying. It's always the people who have no class that have the license plate that tells all the world how much class they have. Yeah, that's Betty. Apologies to anyone listening who has a touch of class license plate on your car. Hey, you do you. I'm only going to take issue with you if you are the furthest thing from, any class at all. Okay. And this is what that very listen, Betty, maybe just next time, I know you're not into learning from mistakes, or touch of class is a strip joint in Bradenton. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Betty, just in case you are interested in educating yourself for the next time this situation happens, because, I'm sure it's already happened, probably 47 more times since this brilliance. Betty, two options. Shut the fuck up and say nothing. Say nothing. But alas, we know who we're talking about here. Betty is not capable of letting anything go. She simply cannot. Betty never met an argument that she didn't want to plant her flag on that hill and die on it. So short of that, if you can't just say nothing, well, then thank you. Thank you for, I'm sure, because this is Betty, so I'm sure she would have had to have said something like, oh, well, I already knew 95% of that, but, thanks, little girl, for the, thanks for that throwaway 5% I didn't know. No, I mean, Betty, God, you are devoid of class. You literally have, and you're a joke, Betty. It's one thing to have no class and to be a rude, obnoxious bitch when you can pull it off. Pull it off. Oh, kind of like Alex Murdoch. Yeah, he thought he could pull some shit off too. You don't have any of the things that allow you to pull that off. If I really need to, I can lay those out here, but I don't think I need to. Hi, Tracy. How are you? The more she... Oh, I never told you what she said. Well, first she said, there's some Yahoo out there who claims to be a social worker. And then went on to say, if I probably had to guess, you are probably haven't done anything in your community, and you are part of the problem, not part of the solution. Well, since up to that minute, you didn't know who the hell she was. Who makes that kind of judgment about somebody? I mean, it would be one thing if she rolled on camera looking like you do, where it's kind of like, yeah, all of this kind of speaks before she does, but she doesn't present like you do. So why would you say that? Because you felt like an asshole? Because you got schooled in front of all of YouTube? Not that doesn't happen on the weekly, hell, the daily. But it means a little more when it's coming from somebody who does know what she's talking about. And it's so obvious that you do not. And then she went on to say, little girl, sit down, little girl. When you come after me, you better pack a lunch, little girl. Well, guess what, bitch? If I have to pack a lunch, at least I won't have to e-bag my subs to pay for said lunch. Can you say that? Because Betty doesn't even buy her own lunch. So, who says something like that? All because she gave you the facts, the reality, the facts. I mean, Betty doesn't think anyone on this platform or anyone else in the world, I would imagine, is worthy of just human decency and respect, besides herself, of course. She sees herself, I guess, as, I mean, I know exactly how she sees herself. And anybody who knows anything about number one women, I mean, you ever notice that Betty is very, very triggered and very threatened by all women? And anytime she's ever come after me, she has never once, that I've heard, doesn't mean it, she hasn't, but I've never heard her do anything but want to trade middle school level personal insults at me, which that's all you got. I get it. And it doesn't bother me. I've had people come in the chat and say some not very nice things. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but I mean, Betty would probably have to be hospitalized if she was on the receiving end of some of the shit she dishes out. Because I've just never seen such a petty bitch, honestly. She's jealous AF. She's petty. Petty Betty is who she is. She is salty. And I heard somebody make the point, I think it was the Glairer, that you never see her do this to male creators. And he is right. I've never, oh God, she is the furthest thing from clever. She's very flat, but thinks she's clever. Oh God. There's nothing further from clever. She doesn't understand sarcasm. She doesn't. Like, Betty's never laughed at herself. I can promise you that. She simply cannot. Like, she can't. Because she's so threatened by everybody. She takes everything as like some kind of personal attack against her. I mean, and sometimes, of course, it is, but not always. Rabbit was just really trying to, since she's on her campaign to save the children. Oh, I got some observations about that as well. Sure, that's shocking. Yeah, Betty, you're not in the same league as Down the Rabbit Hole, or me, or most of the other women on this platform. And it's got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with your outward appearance. I mean, I know we all bust on you on that kind of stuff just because somebody who takes herself as seriously as you do. Betty, nobody takes you as seriously as you take yourself. Okay? And hey, Michelle, how you doing? What the hell was I just saying? Oh, we bust on you about some of those things because you're such a bitch. And it's a softball. And sometimes it's just too easy to not let the softball go by. But when I say you're not in the same league, you don't have the intelligence. You don't have the verbal communication skills. You don't have the emotional communication skills. You don't have the resume. Okay? I don't give a shit what you scream about Kaiser College and your legal education. Girl, I've told you before, get a lawsuit going. You love your lawsuits, Betty. I think you should sue them because they did you a disservice. They stole your money, Betty. Yes. Next to Red, I agree. She has a lot of anger issues. Yes, her self-esteem is very low. You are correct. Hey, laugh with me, Lily. How you doing? Okay, so that's all I'm going to say on that. And now for a brief word from our sponsor, BullHornBetty, and some of her musings on the Murdaugh. Okay, Betty, listen, Pumpkin, for somebody who's such a brilliant legal scholar who had to rush back to her hotel from a very important event she was attending to tell all her, her subs who you would think the way she talks to them and about them, it's like they couldn't understand the Murdaugh verdict without Betty there to explain it to them. Or could it be because she's on let's see, what is she calling it? She's working. I've tried to tell my husband that sometimes my credit card bill is reflective of that's wardrobe for my job, and honey, we can write it off. That's what I try and tell him, and he looks at me like doesn't mean I don't try. So I guess I can see why Betty wants to go into CPAC work, but whatever. Betty, now listen, for someone who's just thoroughly watched that trial and researched all the issues, do you think you could pronounce the man's name properly, for God's sake? Do you get it, Betty? Do you see where I'm coming from? You kept calling him Murdaugh. It's Murdoch. And I don't care if you heard other people pronouncing it Murdaugh. He told you it's Murdoch. But that's just a little thing. I mean, in the big scheme of all the stuff you get wrong, that is very minor and petty. This brings us right back to the cocaine question. Yes. Well, I'm imagining Betty might be one of the few people on the YouTube streets who believed that Alex Murdaugh could have a $50,000 a week drug habit, as he put forth. Now, I didn't hear what preceded her following dumbass statement, so I'm not going to. All I can do is assume based on what I did hear her say. And by the way, I did the math on Alex Murdaugh's claim, and I had it figured out as if he took 24, which is 1 an hour, 24 80 milligram Oxycontin, I think it is when it's that high of a milligram. It doesn't matter. Oxy of some kind, 80 milligram at $1 per milligram, as per a cop I asked. That still only worked out to be just south, I think, of $30,000 a week. We still had 20,000. I'm sorry, we still have, well, hell's bells, we're just going to do it again. Where's the damn calculator? Okay, there it is. All right, 80 times 24. That's 1920 a day times 7 days a week. 13.4 times 4. Oh, damn it. What did I say that was? 13.4. And he said he had a $50,000 a week habit. That still leaves us $36,600. We've got to still do more drugs. And that is no sleeping. That's all day, 24 hours a day. That's all you can do is take pills. Well, she must have been buying into that, because what I saw her say was, well, I can tell you that, in my past, I had a very serious problem with cocaine. And in 6 months, I spent $100,000. Bitch, I go back to my last statement. You've never made $100,000 in a calendar year. And if you have, you didn't spend it all on cocaine. And some tells me, oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm not accusing Betty of any drug use. This came out of her mouth, not mine. But was that gross or net, Betty? That 100,000 that you? Well, we definitely know she's not doing it now, because she certainly doesn't look like, is she going to the Chinese buffet with MGL and Mal? Just wondered. Yeah, so I think Betty was kind of buying into Alex's bullshit about the $100,000. And oh boy, here was another. This is the only other thing I'm going to say about her thoughts on that. This is staggering that she would say this. And Betty, if it's true, like I said, hi, Kaiser College? Yeah. Listen, I'm going to need back all that money that, oh, didn't I give you $100,000? Or did I spend that on cocaine? No, was that on my tuition? I can't remember. Well, listen, whatever it was, I'm going to sue you if you don't give me that money back, because I'm out here telling everybody I've got this legal education, looking like a damn dumbass fool. And you guys told me the following. Betty said that in her legal education, well, we were taught when we were in school, when speaking about how quickly the verdict came back. Bitch, O.J. Simpson said he damn thought he did it. I mean, come on. Now, I'll admit, I didn't think it was going to be quite that fast, but I had no doubt it would be guilty. But what Betty said with regards to the speed of said verdict, well, when I was in school, my legal education, they taught us that, when they came back quick, that was going to be a guilty verdict. It is staggering. It really is. Now, what I will say is this. Typically, when the jury comes back quickly, many defense attorneys, as well as prosecutors, and I don't know, even lay people that have been watching trials since the invention of court TV, which, yeah, I am old enough to remember. Most of those people will tell you that oftentimes that is indicative that it's going to be a guilty verdict. However, I'm going to reference everyone back to my friend O.J. Simpson we were just speaking of, who, not for nothing, I think they came back in 2 hours maybe? Oh, and we all know how that went. Yeah, that was a not guilty. So it's not so much the idea she put forth. It wasn't that. It was the fact that she told all those dumbasses, sorry, Mike, that listened to her, that they taught her in her legal education that when the jury comes back early, that means it's going to be guilty. Betty, you are so full of shit. And if that is the case, like I said, hey, Kaiser, yeah, it's me. Betty, yeah, it's me again. Now listen, y'all are making me look like a damn fool out here. Listen, don't you know who I am? I am BullHornBetty. I will sue the balls off of you, okay? I've got a binder. You're going to find your ass in my binder. You either get a cease and desist to my team. You get it to my team with a cashier's check for at least half of my tuition, and we'll forget all about this. But you don't know who you're messing with. You want to mess with me? You better pack a lunch, bitch. You think you want a little something like that? God, you are a whole ass joke. Oh, God, but I do thank you for being said joke because, oh, Betty, you are just an endless source of comedy material. Yep, you are. I mean, I'm not the funniest woman on YouTube. I leave that to PayPal Mel. She's much funnier. No, I don't. I'm just maybe wittier than your average bear. Or beach whale. I don't know. Now we're at the last part of our program, kids, that I've titled Betty Goes, the Bullhorn Goes to CPAC. Betty, now listen. Everybody before me, from whenever you made your stupid ass video, alleging that you had a personal invitation to go to Washington, D.C. and meet with legislators. Really? Why? Why? They don't have enough beauty school dropout eggs walking the streets of D.C.? What do they need you for? I mean, Betty, you do know that thing you held up, that you said, here's my receipts. BullHornBetty always brings receipts. Bitch, I shop at Neiman Marcus. Do you have any receipts from Neiman Marcus? No, Betty buys her clothes at the Pilot gas station gift shop. Well, she at least buys her accessories there. Betty, those sunglasses, you look like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. Please, Betty, I'm begging you. I'll send you a pair of my old ones. What do you want? You want Ray-Bans? You want aviators? I'm not sending you Chanel. You're not worth Chanel. I will send you some old Ray-Bans. I've got some, I don't think I have some Elizabeth and James cat eye. Might look good on you. Probably not. Betty, please, on your way back to Florida from your important meeting with the legislators and the movers and shakers, the rainmakers, the lawmakers, the ice cream makers, for God's sake, Betty, when you are driving down the interstate, live streaming, texting, chatting, sending directives to your team, grifting for super chats. Well, since you're clearly so multi-talented, I mean, Betty, you are an absolute accident waiting to happen. And of course, the people who were dumb enough to point that out, well, she just naturally told you to fuck off. I've got 5 magnets in this car. Oh my God, Betty. Holy shit, girl. You are a hot ass mess. I have never seen Betty. I was gonna say you're like a sitcom waiting to happen. I think a cartoon's more like it, and not South Park, because that's a very well written, smart cartoon. Hey, Queen Ashley, how are you? Yes, Betty's got 5 magnets all over her car that she can attach all her devices and how did she put it? Move to the best position for, hold on, I wrote it down. Of course I did. Oh, wait a minute, we're getting there. What I was going to tell you, Betty, girl, you have got to, when you're in your little car with the the diamond pleat or diamonds. What do they call that? Like it's a thing in like a lot of lowrider cars, custom interiors. They do it a lot. I think they call it diamond pleating. Yeah, except hers is vinyl. Her little steering wheel cover that she got at the Pilot gas station when she bought the Jeff Goldblum sunglasses. Betty, open the window when you're on 95. Hold your hand out, not the one that's on the wheel. Oh, no, here, we'll do it this way. Not the one that's on the wheel, okay? Because you got to have, oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Betty's using her knee for the steering wheel. She's super chatting. Oh, no, she only gets them. She doesn't send them. She's on the phone with the team. Team, yes, no, fuck that. No, call that Kaiser College. Tell them I'm sick of their shit. They're getting a cease and desist. You're in the binder, bitches. Lawsuit, head your way. What was that you were saying? Fuck you. No, I am very safe when I'm driving. I can drive on the interstate 900 miles an hour, text, super chat, live stream. I can do all that. Betty, while you're busy doing that, honey, get one of your magnets to, like, I don't know, take control of the wheel. Dump those glasses. Just do this, Betty. Watch. It won't be that hard. I promise, Betty. I have got a pair of rose gold Ray-Ban aviators. They were beautiful sunglasses. I still like them, but they're scratched to hell. But hey, you're worth a pair of scratch sunglasses. So, girl, just dump that shit on the interstate, please. Oh my God, Betty. The other thing you got to get rid of? Oh my God. Y'all, this shit gives me hives when I see it. The pink and black hat that says, does it say sassy? It says something. I was like, oh, truer words were never spoken. Or Southern something. Oh God, I don't know. Her whole wardrobe's fucking tragic. And Betty, girl, I could take you anywhere, even Pilot gas station. Ashley, if Betty doesn't want those glasses, girl, I'll send them to you. I'll send you a better pair that's not scratch. Betty ain't getting any of my damn good sunglasses. Betty, you make me crazy, girl. You made me draw my glasses. Okay, so Betty, Mr. Chips goes to Hollywood. Ronald Reagan goes to D.C. Mr. Somebody goes to Washington, D.C. Yeah, Betty goes to CPAC. And y'all, this is not about politics. And I'm pretty certain, for anyone that's not familiar, of course, everyone is, CPAC, Conservative Political Action Committee. Listen, I don't know a lot about it. What I do know is what I think it is, besides a convention that people pay to go to. I think it's a way to bundle lots of donations, and it's a way of skirting around the finance rules, I think. Love MJ too. Oh, yes, that bullshit about the guy on the bike. Listen, Betty's got a playbook, okay? Saying that guy on the bike hit her. That man didn't hit her. Nobody hit her. Although, goddamn, I wish somebody would. And if you will, oh my God, I'll pay your legal fees. That bitch is begging to get hit, okay? What woman? Hold on. I'm not doing it. We're staying on track. Don't worry, I'm getting to it. And I promise, at the end of this diatribe, if there is anything I have not touched upon that you would like to discuss, well, you just put it in the chat. I'm not like Betty. I'm not going to tell you to fuck off. What are you doing in my chat? Get out of my channel. What are you doing here? You don't talk to me that way. Betty, I think there's some small tropical country that's looking for you. Yes, there's, there's lots of dictators that have been ousted over the last several decades. I'm sure you could put your application in. Oh God. If I was going to do that, I think I would have been Imelda Marco. Imelda was very misunderstood. Okay. Yeah. So Betty, while Betty's driving to DC, as she's texting, driving, live streaming, reading chat, all sprinkled in with telling people to fuck off, because God, I've said the F word more times in this stream than I think I need to try and like dial that back a little. Yes, but instead of, someone in the chat had the absolute audacity. Hi, Rockin' Robin, how you doing? They had the absolute audacity to point out the simple truth, which, girl, Betty, they just love you. They want to make sure you're around for a long time. And I just want to make sure you don't kill any innocent people. I mean, honestly, it was just a very legit question. Like, don't you think it's a little dangerous what you're doing? Yeah. To which she gave me the whole, what I just did. You know what I wrote down in my notes? I want you to picture these as some real cheap, shitty sunglasses that make me look like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. And instead of having, Betty, listen, here's how you know it's very just cheap. Listen, you can have style without having to spend a bunch of money. It's not about money, but there's some things you need to stay away from. And things that are stuck on your glasses that are masquerading as crystals when they're just pieces of plastic, just go for the pair that doesn't have any fake bling, okay? Just go for a plain black pair. Here she is. Oh, did I forget this? Okay, while she's driving, live streaming, screaming at people in the chat for daring to mention it, grifting for super chats, and answering comments and yelling at people. She's doing this. Do you know what I wrote down in my notes? Now, listen, I know I'm a vain bitch, and I know I sit up here and I play with my hair. Listen, it's not because I think my hair looks so beautiful or I'm worried about said hair looking so beautiful. It's a freaking mess. I'm going to the hairdresser on Tuesday or Wednesday. This is the hardest part of the month, getting through this part of it. It just makes me crazy. So I like to, okay, but listen, I'm unlike Betty. I can recognize that, I have some flaws. Not many, but so here's Betty. And you know what I wrote in my notes? It's like, I don't know, it's more believable coming from me. What can I say? In my notes, I put live streaming, driving, yelling while reading chat, and grifting for super chats, while preening like a peacock who is the love child of Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. I'm sorry. It's the way I feel. It's the way I feel. And I'm not wrong. Oh, Mike Stevens, you're speaking my language. Mike says, you have no flaws. Betty, I hope you're listening to this. You listen, Mike, you might be you might be getting ready to have to involuntarily defect from Chateau Bullhorn. Oh my God. And the Tiger King is our brother. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh God. I don't know if that's as funny as I'm making it out to be, but oh Lord, have mercy. Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get struck dead when I walk out of this room. Okay, so there's that. Went over the magnets. Oh, and what is this cackle? Betty has this very troubling maniacal cackle. When you piss her off, yes, look out. Well, so Betty's on her way to CPAC to save the children of the world. At least that's what she's telling you. Hold on, let me consult my notes before I get too far ahead of myself. Betty, we know you love Trump, okay? I voted for the idiot. I more than me voting for him, which I really was not, I was voting against Hillary Clinton because she's wretched. But Betty, you know, word on the street, especially as a Floridian girl, you should know this. Word on the street is you may need to, well, don't burn your bra, but by God, by all means, do not burn your bra. But you might want to burn your Trump shirts and invest in a DeSantis t-shirt because I don't know, word on the street has it that, I don't know, he could be positioning himself for a, you know, presidential run. But Betty, you know by now that all of us went to CPAC and we pulled up tickets, pricing, and everyone knows. Not that anyone believed for one hot second that you were personally invited to. I don't understand, why do you lie about things that are so easily proven to be lies? I mean, if I'm going to lie, I'm going to lie about shit that you're not going to come and easily catch me. But Betty Betty, I don't even think your subs believe you. I don't know why you have all those subs. It's kind of like the pyramids. How did those things get there? Hell if I know. I can't explain why you have any following at all. I don't know. But I'm glad you do, because you sure do give me something to talk about. Oh God. Yeah, you know, Penny, I think you should work on saving your credit score. Don't worry about the world's children, okay? I think there's plenty of people that are looking after the children that are in a much better position to do so than you. Okay, so we looked at the CPAC. Now, Betty, this might sound mean, but I'm sorry. I have questions. You know, there are many, many people that say that you are on, we'll just say, benefits. Whether that is Social Security disability, that seems to be the word on the street. And everything that would go along with that, like, oh, I don't know, EBT. And, you know, Betty, when you're with your CPAC posse, you know, I might have to well, what I was going to ask is, do you tell all those people that being the Betty, you're what is known as a rhino. Do you know what a rhino is? That's a Republican in name only. Not really applicable to you. Not in the truest sense of the word rhino, but I'm going to use it because I just don't understand how you are a staunch Republican, staunch enough that you would pay $295 to go to CPAC. The only way I'm going to CPAC is if someone mails me a free ticket, and not the general admission ticket Betty got. No, I'm going to need the $30,000. I'm not sure if that was the Ronald Reagan breakfast or whatever it was. It was 30 grand. I'm like, well, for 30 grand, or was it 300? No, I think it was 30. Anyway, the point is, do you tell all those people that you're a Republican who believes in the welfare state? And don't you even get up on your soapbox about that, because you don't work, Betty. Your YouTube, I mean, I guess if you're making a living at it, but Betty, how you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth, because the other word on the street is that your YouTube channel is not in your name because of said benefits, maybe. So what are you doing? Are you double dipping? Do you work or do you not work? And if you work, then why not pay taxes on your job of YouTube? Are you trying to double dip? Are you trying to get me and everybody else who works and pays taxes? Are you trying to get us to pay you to play on YouTube, but calling it a job that you, from the looks of your social blade, you are making money? So Bash the Tragedy Pimps, the thing, that comment says she went there for the kids, but hasn't handed out one flyer. Okay, so answer me this. What the fuck does CPAC have to do with saving kids? That is not a save the kids platform. That's not what that's about. That is about this right here. That's what it is. It is about, I mean, it's a convention, yes, of like-minded people to come together, but it's also a way to skirt the campaign finance donation laws, I think. My husband and I have talked about this many times, because unlike Betty, when I don't know something, I go to somebody that does. And my husband is a very astute student of politics, finance, things like that. Like the things my husband watches for fun. Not me. But I know that because I didn't know what that was. What the main purpose of that was. And I'm almost positive he told me it's a way to make very large donations to the party, but it's not subject to campaign finance. So I just don't get that about her. Like, I call that double dipping and lying if it's true. I'm not saying it is. I don't know Betty's personal disability status, but I don't know. So that was one of my first thoughts when I saw her standing in front of that hotel with her CPAC posse. And then I thought, oh, yeah, you know what? Erase. Because let's just say this. You go back and go look at one of the many videos that are circulating of Betty with her little posse. And Bash the Tragedy Pimps. Mike Stevens is my YouTube husband, and he's just trying to line y'all up. He does like Betty, but Mike is a very faithful and appreciated sub, and he is my YouTube husband. But like I said, he definitely likes to try and wind the chat up. So just don't feed the beast, and y'all will get along just fine. I used to do that. I used to go back and forth with Mike and ask him the same questions, but then Mike likes to appeal to my shallow nature. And he knows that he can throw a compliment my way, and I'll forgive a few things. So yeah, just don't feed him. Don't feed the beast, and everybody will get along fine. So yeah, go look at the picture, and then you tell me. Like, I don't know, the one guy who, sir, I'm sure you're a very nice person, but I'm just saying, when you've got like face tattoos everywhere, I don't know, that tends to kind of, I'd cross the street to go to the other side, and I'm not trying to be mean, okay? It's just a fact, all right? Multi-face tattoos, that usually sends a very clear message, like, be scared, bitch. Be very scared. And I am. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to twin. You don't see Mike? I see Mike. Michelle, I don't think Mike, I do not think Mike gives her money. He might, but I don't think he does. So yes, sir, well, I'm sure Betty's friend from the CPAC posse picture in front of the hotel, I'm sure you're a lovely man, despite the face tattoos, but it just puts me off. And then we had the man that was in a suit made of a graphic that's clearly brick, which I'm assuming is supposed to represent a wall, which I'm for a wall, but I don't think it would be brick necessarily. And then, y'all, hold on a moment. Oh, yes. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Betty has never met a lanyard she doesn't love. And I've never met one that I would wear. Well, when you see Betty, she has got, honest to God, she's got a new lanyard. She's got her pin, big old pin, some other such thing over here. I have to say, Betty, I'm going to give you a little bit of a compliment. While I hate those sunglasses and you need to throw them onto I-95, 85, 75, all the fives, I will say, I think you looked much better than your typical schlubby wardrobe. I'm going to show you guys a picture and you tell me who you think this is in this picture, because I'm pretty sure I know who it is. This is, of course, nothing but speculation on my part. I could be totally wrong, but I'm going to show you a couple pictures and I want you to tell me if this looks like anybody we might know. Chat, class, does that woman standing next to Betty remind you of anyone? I think that is Mama Bullhorn. Now, I don't know that. I've never seen her. Here's the only reason I'm kind of wavering on it. And that is this. Because that woman seems to have a lovely smile and looks like a nice person. Although I guess Betty kind of does too, standing next to her. I mean, I don't know. I think that is Betty's mom. Yes, Kit, absolutely. I have never laid up. Mike Stevens, you can answer this question. Has her mom ever shown herself on her channel? And listen, I'm not trying to dox her mom. Listen, I'll bust on Betty's ass all day long. I will not say anything about Betty's mom at all. I don't know her mom. And even if I did, I would tread very lightly around that subject, because you think that lady's too young to be her mom? Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's see. I'm 53. I think Betty is 9 or 10 years younger than me. So let's just say Betty's 42. You don't think that woman could be 62-ish years old? Let me show you another one. It was the first thing that I thought when I saw the pictures. I was like, holy shit. If that's not her, this one's even smaller. Damn it. Yeah, that one's too small. Let's see if this one. Let me check. Damn it. Is that good Lord? Why can't I get that thing to? Oh God, I can really see it here. I think this one's too small too, but we'll try. Is that this one? Shit. Yes. It's really hard to see. You guys, they are the same height, the same build. I mean, obviously this woman is a little wider. Same hair. I don't know. Like I said, what makes me think it's not her is she has a lovely smile and looks like the nice person. So, and even if, like I said, I ain't trying to dox anybody's mom, but yeah, Mike, I thought that too. I thought, but how do we know she wasn't in the car? Did you ever see, I don't watch Betty, so I only see her on the clips. So I don't know if you could see into her passenger seat. I don't know, couldn't her mom have flown there? I don't know. But I tell you what, whoever that is a doppelganger for Betty. Now, granted, a little older Betty, but hi, Luigi Lollipop. Okay, that's not her mom. Holy shit. Wow, that lady could absolutely be her mom. Well, I don't know. I've never seen her mom, but okay. Mystery solved. Oh, this was the best. I heard it this morning and I literally laughed. I told my husband about it. I made him play the guessing game. Hey, Earth, how are you? I said, honey, well, first I made him look at the picture, the video of Betty and the CPAC posse and her getting in that guy's face. What is with her? What it? Oh boy, man. That is 43 the hard way. I'm a decade older than her. I do not understand this thing. It's, you know how like they say with men like Dolly, and maybe, I don't know, Ernie, short men, they say it's Napoleon complex. What is it when it's a woman? Because I'm shorter than Betty, okay? And I can promise you, I have never behaved like she does. We all could sit here and recount countless times. Listen, Betty is always looking for a fight. She's always looking for a verbal argument. She's looking for a physical altercation. Did you see her go over to that guy on the bike? That, of course, now it's morphed into, he hit me in the face. Bitch, if you got hit in the face, you'd know. And I'm just going to go out there and say, I do not advocate anyone hitting Betty in the face. But if you need to, would you please knock her the hell out? Please and thank you. But I am not. Can't look at you. Can you imagine? You imagine another 10 on that? Oh, God. I don't understand this. What? She's like, I mean, I hate to use this analogy because lots of people like chihuahuas. Hey, Alabama, how are you? What is this thing of she's like a damn chihuahua. She gets up in people's faces in their personal space. Like she has no problem getting all up in your business. It's like, is she trying to get somebody to touch her so that she can really sue somebody and, you know, get a quick 10,000? I don't know. I don't understand. I have never in my life been in a fight. Not a physical. Hell no. I just, and I tell you what, like I said, I'm shorter than Betty is. I would never forget about the fact that it's just a man. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. You don't know in Washington, D.C., do you know how many nut jobs are rolling around the streets of D.C.? I mean, hell, you got to be worried somebody's going to, who knows? I mean, people are nuts. My God, you flip somebody off in traffic, you got to worry they're going to follow you home and beat your ass. I don't get this, like, hi, Barbie. Barbie. I should have been born Barbie. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I've just never seen somebody, not a woman, who actually, I might have to walk that back a little bit. I think I have. I have known another woman that's age mellowed her though, but God, I don't know. Maybe it has mellowed her. I don't. I. I mean, is it for money? Is that why she does it? Because she's trying to get somebody? I think she is so desperate for attention on, I don't know. I think like many people like her, I think YouTube has kind of become this thing, and not just YouTube, all the social medias. I think have become this thing where people get a little taste of people who've never really been noticed for any particular standout reason or trait or quality ever in their life. And for some reason, starts getting some attention, and then it's like the ever increasing appetite. You have to do more and more and more, and then you throw the money into it, and of course that that takes it to the next. Hey Tuesday, how you doing? That Hi Happy, how are you? That just takes it to the next crazy level. So I don't know. Do you think she's trying to get like, I think Betty would love nothing more than to see herself on the evening news. Of course, not for, not for anything good, but for picking a fight with a man in front of oh God, I don't know. Not my problem, not my circus, not my monkey, don't care. But yeah, I'd be careful. But, so Betty's talking about, I said to my husband, after I made him watch that insanity, I said, now, honey, if I said to you, because my poor husband, I mean, listen, he thought that his life was getting easier. Like, oh, God damn. Yes, she got that damn YouTube channel. I don't have to listen to all this stupid shit anymore. Yeah, but he still has to come in the kitchen occasionally. So if I'm awake and I'm out in the living room, because I've got a like big open floor plan and the kitchen is right out into the living room. So, my husband will come out like all ducked down, trying to, like, oh God, if she doesn't see me, I won't have to answer. So I'm like, honey, look at, after that video, I said, now, if I said to you, what do you think that nut job told all of YouTube happened to her while she was there? He said something hilarious that I'm not going to say. And it may be because I can't remember, and it may be because my husband is very funny. You think I'm witty? Holy shit, my husband has a razor sharp wit. My husband and I, like Eminem did that rap battle, and oh, my husband and I will do it on the couch sometimes. But I said, well, Betty's got this big binder, and usually her binder is full of people that are getting cease and desist letters. I said, but she took her binder to CPAC because she's saving the children, and she's got all these flyers in her binder. Well, kind of like Santa Claus and his, his list. He's naughty, checking it twice. Who's naughty, who's nice? Well, Betty's got a cease and desist letter. I said, so her binder, when your burden gets too heavy along with your binder, what did Atlas do? Betty, have you read Atlas Shrugged? Are you an Ayn Rand fan, Betty? Oh, probably not, but I have. And much like Atlas had to shrug when, what was the name of what was the name of the railroad company? Does anybody remember the railroad line in Atlas Shrugged? So when Betty's burden of the binder, much like Atlas's burden of, I don't know, the whole world, well, Betty had to shrug, i.e., take the binder and chuck it in her car. Well, when Betty was on her way out to the car, honey, who do you think she met? My husband's like, honey, I have no idea. I don't pay attention to these fucking people. I'm like, you lie like a rug. You know all about him. I said, honey, she met a fan. As Betty was running to her car, dragging that binder behind her, much like Atlas was shouldering the weight of the world. Betty met a super fan. Now picture this, okay? She is schlepping to the car with her binder that weighs as much as the globe. And a guy stops her and says, excuse me, aren't you BullHornBetty? I know. Y'all, I know. I am not. Don't y'all tell me I'm the only one who was jumping up and down on my couch calling bullshit. You know that bitch would have been, oh, sir, excuse me. Can I just get you to say that again while I turn my camera on? Hold on 1 minute. Oh, your ass. Bye, beer can. Enjoy your Friday night. I'm going to be right behind you in not too long. There's a White Claw with my name. I got a White Claw and some day drinking to do. Come on. Do you honestly think? Do you think some fucking rando nut job in the parking lot? Hi, excuse me, ma'am. Are you BullHornBetty? I've been following. Are you Bulltube Betty? What did I just call her? Bulltube? That's her new name. I just called her Bulltube Betty. Oh my God. Can you just picture it? You guys, you're laughing your ass off. Come on. Hey. My husband just walked in the door. You know damn good and well, nobody recognized that bitch walking through the parking lot. And on the off chance, I'm sorry. I think I got a better chance of being named to the Victoria's Secret runway show. And trust me, they don't hire girls with cellulite. So I have zero chance of that happening. There is nobody that recognized Betty going to her car. Yes, the world famous BullHornBetty. I promise you, if she had to. Now, let's think about this. This woman can't even drink a cup of coffee without live streaming it. She can't go to a BOCC meeting without live streaming it. Do you really think some rando she would have paid the guy $20 if she had to film it? Come on. Oh my God. So funny. Betty, I got to thank you for that one, girl, because that was hilarious. That was absolutely delusion on the next level. And Betty, advocacy has a D in it. It's not advocacy, it's advocacy. And I promise we're almost done. Here's my last thought. Betty, why would anyone choose you to be a child advocate? Okay. Well, first this question. And since you Alabama, so you're saying she took a shell out of Ernie Page's out of oh my God, I've been talking too long. I can't even talk. Tongue twister. Alabama, you're saying that she took a page out of Ernie Shell's book? Or did she have a turtle on the half shell? Which Ninja Turtle would he be? I'm starting to get slap happy. And my dog is whining. He wants to go out. Anyway, Betty, since you are such a passionate child advocate, because God made the very good decision to not bless you with children. But Betty, listen, just because you are very unfortunately unable to conceive, I mean, besides the fact that menopause is probably well in the rearview mirror by now. But Betty, I wanted to tell you about a couple things you can do. Even if you can't be even if you can't have a biological child. A foster parent, Betty, instead of worrying about, my God, girl, Rome wasn't built in a day. Why are you trying to reconfigure the entire child welfare system? Why don't you just be a damn foster parent, Betty? Yes, this is all rhetorical. Okay, so foster parent. How about an adoptive parent, Betty? Do you know how many children, and this isn't even a joke, there are so many kids who, whether it's fostering, adopting, I mean, do you know how many children are in need? Why don't you do that, Betty? Or if that's too much of a commitment, or your criminal record precludes you, well, what about being a guardian ad litem? Betty, that would be right up your alley. Yes. You could use your brilliant legal mind. And as someone who's been through guardian ad litem training, I can assure you Betty would not qualify, because not only do they look at your criminal record, well, they like to try and take a peek inside your head. Yes. You go through a multi-level screening process. So, there's that. Fail. Biggest fail. Okay, so that's all out of the question. Betty, now listen, I'm not saying you do not have strengths. You do. Your willingness to stand on a hot street corner and verbally assault people with your political ideologies. I mean, hey, we've all heard that, we know you're a fan of Trump and being such a staunch Republican. Well, why don't you get out there and do some damn political volunteering? Oh, that's right. You do. You already do that. Yes, but the BOCC, they hate you. So why don't you try and, why don't you try and do some civic duties where the people actually want you as part of the meeting? I mean, just think of all the things you could get done. But alas, Betty, I have a hard time coming up with why you are someone that should be advocating for children. Like your criminal history, which includes violence, check, drugs, check, DUI, check. Not to mention your prolific YouTube catalog where you are frothing at the mouth and screaming like an unhinged lunatic at people who think differently than you, or who dare to point out your flagrant misunderstandings, we'll just say charitably. You don't have any children, which, you know, that's not to say that you have to have children to want to advocate for them and to care about children, not at all. But you know, when you are delusional enough to think that you are going to affect, oh, you know what my husband said when I told him that, you know, not like he wanted to know, but I make him listen to all this shit. Like I said, the man's got to eat and the refrigerator is too close to the TV. But when I told him that Betty was at CPAC, after he laughed, what the hell? What did he say to me? It'll come to me. I had it and it just, as soon as I thought of it, it left. Listen, I've done pretty good for 2 hours and 6 minutes. I haven't had one train like leave the station where I forgot where it was going. That I just did. That was definitely that. So that means it's definitely time for me to stop because, you know, I'm feeding fast. You have no like resume to speak of. Oh, that's what my husband said. He goes, what do those dumbasses actually think they're going to accomplish? He said, all the people who are qualified can't accomplish anything. What do they think they're going to accomplish? What kind of change does she think she's going to affect? Because I got news for her. She ain't going to affect anything. Nobody. Listen, politics is business as usual. It always has been. It always will be. It's very much a good old boys system. We all know this. So. Oh, thanks, kid. So yeah, Betty, you're not exactly the sharpest knife in the block. You're factually wrong more than you're right. And probably most importantly, when it comes to, you know, these types of matters, Betty, politics and getting things done, well, girl, it's about building relationships. It's, you know, you have to have a certain amount of finesse, gravitas. You have neither. The closest you get to finesse is probably a cheap shampoo. And Betty, you don't play well with others. No, you don't. You don't play well with anybody. Nobody wants to play in Betty's sandbox. And if you think you do, well, just try getting in that sandbox and she will pick up a giant handful and throw it right in your eyes. That's all, folks. Woo! My sciatic nerve is screaming. My dog's whining. And my husband just walked in the door. And there's a White Claw with my name on it. All right, everybody. I hope y'all have a great weekend. I will not be going live anymore until next week. I don't know what I have going on. I know I have a couple things in the middle of the week, so I always try and do Mondays so that we can, catch up with the YouTubers behaving badly. Okay, I'm coming. I promise. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Crimes and Fashion, along with Fashionistas, Felons, and Fruit Loops, where we talk about some very bad, ignorant ass, usually poorly dressed, oftentimes mean / crazy AF people while being dressed to kill. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. I'll see you out there on those streets this weekend. Bye.